It's very sad, and because we do sign a code of conduct, and that the part of even having to sign the code of conduct is very sad. You know, once you are on a team, you represent the nation, and it should be common knowledge to behave yourself. But anyway, we're not going to go into further details.
Yeah. So both Steffen and I mean, when I go to Europe, I represent the U.S. as a judge, and you know, I think, unfortunately, a lot of the world doesn't like us, and a lot of foreign judges come and judge at these competitions, and a lot of them judge you, and you have to think a little bit about riding in these competitions that you're representing the U.S. as well, and it leaves a very bad taste in everyone when some of our competitors are rude or horrible or are cruel, and a European judge is judging that class, and it goes, you know, right back, and you know, everybody talks about it, and that's just something we don't need. So I think every competitor a little bit has to think about, you know, representing the sport and what we're trying to do out here. And if you don't like it, then go race motorcycles or demolition derby or something. You know, if you need to take your frustrations out, there's a lot better ways to do it than riding your horse.
Yeah. And especially at that level, and I can only speak for myself, but there's a tremendous amount of pressure on you. I mean, you're representing the nation, you're representing the owner, the sponsor, who's expecting a lot, and most of all, you're expecting so much of yourself. And if things don't go right, it is extremely difficult. And but you still have this obligation to, you know, to keep your nerves under control. I mean, everybody gets nervous. There's absolutely no doubt about it, and you just have to be prepared for that. Yeah? You know that you're going to get a little bit excited, a little bit nervous, and that's why it's so important to do the shows and getting used to that type of pressure. And that's why I'm so grateful that the USET makes the grants available, that we can compete over there, and that you're constantly exposed to that type of scenery over there. And it's not easy. When things go well, it's wonderful, but here and there things don't go that well, and it's very, very difficult.
Yeah. So we'll get Mica and Kathy in, so they can. Are they here in the room? Tell them to go ahead and come on in and get them used to. And I think we should each tell one funny story, and I'll let you think of yours, because I've got mine. Every time someone says, "Oh, that really couldn't happen," you know, we all go, "Oh yeah." And one of these days, I'm going to write a book or a little article anyway about some of the stories from the road. The first time, when you're an FEI judge, there's 3 levels. There's C, which is candidate. There's I, which is international, and there's O, which is official. Everyone thinks O means Olympic, but it's really official. So when you're a C, when you're a candidate, you've spent years sucking your way up to be an S, and now you've got 3 more levels, and you're like, oh man. So the first time I went to Europe as a C, Eric Letta was the chairman, and I had known Eric for years because I had raised Swedish warmbloods, and he was on the inspection committee. So he said, well, you need to go to Europe and get some experience. I'm thinking, how hard can this be? Can't be too hard. So my first job was in Poland at a big CDI, and they put me on the big panel. There's usually in Europe 2 panels, one for the small tour, one for the big tour. And it was a CDIW for the World Cup. And I said, Eric, the rules say a C can't be on this panel. And he's like, yeah, so what? Okay, fine. So, of course, the very first class, which was the Grand Prix, I'm at C. Now, this is my first time in Europe, first time at a CDIW, and I'm at C. Okay, and it's also now my first time with this computer person, because we really hadn't done this computer stuff very much in the US. And so I have my scribe here, and I have my computer person here, and my scribe is speaking beautiful English. And I'm thinking, okay, I can do this. So, first horse comes, salutes, I say something, and my scribe goes, how do you spell that? And I think I said something like straight, and I'm thinking, okay, so I spell it, and now we do the first extended trot. I give a 7. And I decided since it's a 7, I'm not giving a comment because she'll ask me how to spell it anyway. And now my computer person, she's shaking her head, she's going, lame, lame. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, that didn't look lame, it looked okay. So this went on until the first break, the first ring break. And I ran over to Stephen Clark, and I'm now like hysterical because this woman has asked me to spell everything. I've now written down a list of 10 words, and I'm going to judge the entire Grand Prix with 10 words, you know, hoping that they will cover everything. Meanwhile, this woman, every time I say something, she's like, oh no, oh no. So I go over to Steve, I go, what do I do? And he goes, you tell them to shut up. That's so rude. He goes, they always do this to you the first time. So I go down and I say, you need to be quiet because I can't concentrate. So now I'm thinking, hey, I'm pretty good, right? Okay, things are cool. The first Russian horse comes into the ring. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever seen Russian dressage, but basically, if you just judge the legs, it would be like about a 90%. And if you judge the top line, it would be a 40%. I've never seen anything like this. They don't cover this in the judges' forums, and I'm going, oh no. And you know, with the scoreboards flashing our scores up, and I'm thinking, this is it. I've heard about people getting booed. This is it. This is my turn. Yeah. So I'm sort of going, okay, gee, I think I'll go 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6. You know, just kind of keep it simple. Sure enough, the score comes up. I'm right in the middle. I'm like, oh, shoot. So Eric Ludd, after this whole class is over, he says, oh, you did very good with the Russian horses. I said, yeah, thanks a lot, guys. You know, thanks for, you know, filling me in. But, you know, again, when Steffen talks about pressure, this is what they do to the judges. They take you, they drop you in the middle, and then they want to see how you handle yourself under all the pressure. So it is very nerve-wracking. Okay, so that's my story. What's yours?
Mine is a little shorter. Just kidding. But this was after the '96 Olympic Games in Atlanta. We had a reception in the White House, and we came in the night before, had a nice dinner with a lot of athletes, and there were only a few athletes that were selected to go to the White House. Not exactly how I ended up there, but you know, I was lucky to. And we left from Atlanta with the 747. All the people who got a medal, individual or team, they were allowed to sit in business class and first class, and the people who didn't, they were in coach class. So we flew to the White House, had a really nice dinner the night before, and then the next morning there was a reception with President Clinton. It's not a joke, by the way, it's a true story. And we shook the president's hand, and the first lady was there, and Chelsea was there. It was a lot of fun. And we were outside the Blue Room where the reception was, and there was a statue of George Washington. And the swimmers were ahead of us, and Janet Evans was there, the whole gymnastic team was there, Dominic Dawes, and a lot of fun people. And they decided to dress up George Washington. They put one of the coats around his shoulders, and somebody put the sunglasses, put a hat on, and then I took my medal off and I put around George Washington, and they were taking some pictures. Well, when my picture was taken, guess who came around the corner? President Clinton. And then he was standing right there, and he was cracking up, and I was so embarrassed. But you know, he was totally cool about it. He said, "Looks like you guys having a great time." And then, you know, I couldn't even say anything. So one of my most embarrassing moments, but still a fun story. Very good. That's going to be on the internet too. I don't know about that.
This stuff always goes on the internet.
Yeah.
It's always amazing, you know, that tomorrow on the internet it will be that, you know, I said this, and everyone will chat about it for weeks on end. So.